Hey guys, Chelsea from Attention to Details, and today we are starting on a fun project here at the shop. This is actually a vehicle that it's owned by an older gentleman. He brought his vehicle by a couple weeks ago for me to take a look at it. He knew it was going to be quite a lot of work and wanted to kind of get an idea for how much it was going to cost. So we went over some of the options, some of the things that he was looking for. This vehicle is actually stored outside. It's a 2014, but he actually said that he has never washed it, and I don't believe he's done anything on the interior as well. So this is gonna be quite a daunting task for us. We're gonna take our time with this. We have all week to work on it. It's absolutely beautiful outside right now. It's actually like in the mid 50s, so it's later in the afternoon. I had some other stuff that we had to do, so we're actually gonna wash the vehicle today since it's our nicest day of the week. The rest of the week we're going to be in the 20s and 30s, so then we can focus on pulling it inside, do the interior, polish it, and just really take our time. I do have a simple request for all of you viewers. A lot of my customers actually follow this channel, and in fact a lot of future customers follow this channel. I've had a lot of people reach out to me lately that have said, hey, I've been following your channel, and they want me to be able to service their vehicles for them, which is so exciting, and that's one of the best things that has absolutely come from this channel. But I do ask that what you're about to see, it's gonna be pretty bad. The customer knows that it's bad. It's gonna require a lot of work, but please be kind with your comments. My customers read these things and they do have feelings, and so I just simply ask that simple request for you guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and share with you guys what is going on with this vehicle, the current condition, and then let's get started. So here's the 2014 Toyota Corolla that we're starting on today. You might be asking yourself, how does someone let a vehicle get this bad? Well, this gentleman, he's older. The vehicle is parked outside under a tree in the woods. The dirt kind of starts to accumulate. It gets baked on. Eventually it'll get wet and then baked on again. And over time, when left neglected, this is what unfortunately happens. When the customer brought the vehicle in for me to look at, he actually kind of put his arms on the top of the roof and he said it's time. He realizes that he's let things get to the point where he needs a professional to be able to address some of the issues. And he also knows that some of these issues we might not be able to fix, that a respray is the only option. The dirt is actually crustified onto his glass. It's in every single seal and drain. It's actually created kind of a musty odor on the inside. We have some major issues that we need to address on the exterior, and obviously our roof and our trunk. A few of the side panels have some mildew or mold that looks like they have actually etched into the clear, so we may not be able to remove 100% of the staining, but we will try to address that when we get to our polishing step. For our interior, we need to do a heavy cleaning on all of our plastic surfaces, especially our high-touch areas where body oils and dirt have just kind of built up to almost like a scum. Our carpets and mats, there's a heavy level of food crumbs, dirt, and dust that we need to vacuum, as well as shampoo. We'll clean and condition our leather seats. All of our plastics will fine-tune clean to remove all the crumbs, the sticky residue, especially our front dash where we've got a little bit of sticky dash going on, as over time the heat from being parked outside has caused the glue to break down and kind of make all of our plastics have a sticky feeling. We'll make sure we remove all of the leaves and dirt and debris that has accumulated in our door jambs, our engine bay, our trunk bay. And last but certainly not least, we need to make sure we remove the heavy buildup of film on the glass so that way the customer can safely drive around. So I think once we clean our glass, it's going to make a huge difference just in safety alone for the customer. There is quite an odor on the interior of this cabin that we need to address. I think after we do a thorough vacuum, shampoo our carpets and mats, we'll clean all of our plastics, our leather. I think right then and there, just using the proper cleaners is going to help leave behind a fresh odor on the interior. So I think the bulk of the work on this interior is actually just going to be scrubbing some of the built up gunk on all of our high touch areas, our steering wheels, our turn shift buttons, door handles, radio controls. You can actually see the dirt where it's just like a scum on them. So that's probably going to take a good bit of our time. So we're going to clean everything out on this interior, but that's going to be for part 2. So stay tuned for that one. But for now, let's go ahead and get started on this outside. So because we're prepping for our wash step, first I need to go ahead and remove the heavy buildup of leaves and debris that are along our engine, as well as our trunk jams, because eventually when I come in to rinse everything, the water is going to need to go somewhere. And if we have a buildup of debris in those areas, it's going to really prevent proper drainage. We already have clogs along our roof drains, so we need to go ahead and first do a really good vacuuming and cleaning out, remove all this debris. Eventually, if you do not clean that debris out, it could spill over into your engine. And obviously, whenever the customer would open up his trunk jam, water needs to be able to flow down that so it doesn't spill over into your actual trunk. So we're just gonna do a quick cleaning and then move on to cleaning our engine. In this moment, because we have such a heavy buildup of dirt, I am hoping that my chemical will do a majority of the lifting for me, but we might realistically need some sort of brush.
Oh no, not a brush!
Just to very quickly get all that dirt off there without me having to go through dozens of microfiber wash mitts and just really spend more time than I need to. Time is money. If I plan on polishing this vehicle afterwards, and I'm also going to do a clay tile treatment to remove the bonded contaminant, it's probably going to end up being a very heavy clay tile treatment because this paint just sounds like absolute gritty sandpaper. So if you are going to use any sort of brush on your paint, I do recommend a brush like this. This is from the Rag Company. This is their soft tip brush. It's actually designed to be safe on wheels as well as your clear coat. Several detailers that I know actually use a brush like this to use as a bug remover or a bug scrubber on their front grills. So can you induce scratches with a brush? Yes. So you want to obviously get one that is going to be more gentle versus something that is more aggressive. This is actually pretty soft, but yes, we will probably be inducing some scratches with our wash step as well as our decontamination step, but we will be polishing afterwards. So before all of you guys come after me saying she used a brush on the paint, I just wanted to kind of explain to you guys why I am using it, what situations I would recommend using it, and really it's only in situations like this where you've got a heavy buildup of dirt where you need to do a quick scrubbing.
With that out of the way, let's return to our previously scheduled detail. Because we have such a heavy buildup of mud and brake dust on our tires and wheels, we're going to actually pre-clean them before we actually come in and use any of our brushes. We're using Vonixx Superior Products Dark Fury. We're going to give it a good high pressure rinse, and you can see without any sort of agitation, we've already removed a majority of the dirt that was on our tires and wheels. So that way now when we come in with our various brushes, we're going to repeat clean with Dark Fury. We're going to be able to just fine tune all of our tires and wheels. These chemicals did a really nice job of safely cleaning these wheels. We did have some clear coat failure on our wheels, so I was concerned about using an acid-based cleaner. I was really impressed with the Vonixx, how quickly it removed a lot of the dirt without agitation alone. But after we got our tires and wheels done, we're going to move on to our engine bay cleaning. Now, a lot of people overthink engine bay cleanings. They get super nervous about hitting it with any sort of high pressure water or even a lot of chemicals. They might think we need to use steam alone. You can see I'm just foaming on Koshemi, their super foam, agitating with my soft tip detail brush. If you have a heavy buildup of dirt in tight spaces, you can also use something like a wheel woolly just to safely clean, but just be careful of hoses and clamps. You can see we're keeping at a safe distance. Rinse everything off. We're going to turn on our engine. That's going to help continue drying the engine, and we'll dress it at a later point in this video. Next, we're going to come in with, again, Superior Products Dark Fury, and we're just going to very quickly blast out our door jams with our pressure washer. Again, we don't need to overthink the moment, be super concerned about any water we might get on the interior. It's very minimal. You can always mop up with a microfiber after, but we're going to be doing a heavy interior detail in the future. So again, I'm not super worried if we get a little bit of spillage on our interior, but a pressure washer, Superior Products Dark Fury, I have found to be one of the quickest and most effective ways to blast out your door jams and just a lot of heavy buildup of dirt on the exterior. You have to use common sense when using this product. You don't want to spray it on your paint and let it sit. As if you want, you can also pre-wet your panels, but Dark Fury is one of the most powerful cleaners that I have found for exteriors. I use it on every single detail. Now we're just coming in, and before we do our high pressure rinse, just trying to clean out all of these seals and our drains along the roof, so that way when we come in to do our really heavy rinse, the water has somewhere to go. We don't have the potential risk of any water going onto our headliner because we already have that issue. Ew. voila. Dark Fury is one of the strongest cleaners that I have here at my shop, and I use it on every single detail, but I have learned where to use this product, how to use this product, and when not to use this product. There's certain times that this might actually create damage that I have to undo the damage from this product. So I just want to share with you guys some tips on how to safely use this product. I will use this for door jams, engine bay cleanings, wheel wells, even bug removal. It does a fantastic job of just quickly removing a lot of the built up grime. It's almost 13/14 on the pH scale, so it's a very high alkaline cleaner. But because it's so strong, if you were to use this on a dry panel, or if you were to let this sit on a paint for too long, what can actually happen is it looks like it stains the paint. It hasn't stained it, but what it's actually done is it removes some of the oils that are within your paint. It's kind of drying it out. That can happen sometimes even with car wash soaps. They're too strong or too low of an acid that they'll actually remove the oils that are in your paint, and it will make it look dull or almost stained. And sometimes I've actually had to come behind and polish away some of the faded appearance that this product can create. So I have found the safest way to use this product, if you're going to use it for pre-treatment, is to use it in a foaming cannon. It dilutes it better than if you were to just kind of spray it with a sprayer. But because I am planning on polishing this paint, because this paint already had a heavy buildup of oxidation, I wasn't too concerned if we stained our paint. Again, the scenario needs to fit with the product. Use common sense. If this vehicle didn't have as much damage as we had, I would have just foamed on Dark Fury versus spraying it in the way that I did. But we were able to blast off all of the heavier buildup of dirt before we came in with our foam cannon and our Koshemi Super Foam. That way I could just specifically see areas of the paint that had a heavier buildup of grime. But even using our Super Foam, I'm still struggling with getting all of this grime blasted off.
So even though we're using a really high pH soap, this stuff just does not want to come off.
So I'm using an electric pressure washer, not a gas powered one, so it's not as powerful, but it's safer to come a little bit closer to the paint like I am now. I'm using a 25-degree tip. It's blasting off a good bit of the grime, but there's some that it is just really bonded with the paint. After doing our foaming pre-soak and trying to remove chemically as much of the dirt on the paint as possible, anything that's left behind is just kind of stuck on there. We foamed everything down for a second time, and then we're going to come in with our Rag Company brush and try to agitate some more of that dirt off of our paint. Even using a brush, most of this dirt did not want to come off. It was just bonded. It had become one with the paint. This is what we call bonded contaminants, and oftentimes you're going to have to use a clay bar or a clay towel to remove it.
Even with the brush, a lot of this just doesn't want to budge, so I think what we're going to have to do is just come in straight away with our clay towel and use our clay towel to wash it. It's not ideal, but it's really the only way that this scum is kind of coming off.
I know as a detailer, we oftentimes watch these YouTube videos or these shows on TV. We see these vehicles that have been really badly neglected, maybe stored in a barn. They wash it for the first time in 20 years, do a really good high pressure rinse, and a majority of the dirt comes off with just high pressure water alone. This was not that vehicle. This was not that scenario for me. I had to scrub and scrub and scrub again just to try to remove the grime that had just become so caked and crustified with this paint. So just to recap our wash process, we did a high pressure rinse, foaming pre-soak, another high pressure rinse, then we foamed on our soap, agitated with the brush to do an initial cleaning, then we did a clay towel treatment. We also did a chemical decon with another clay towel treatment, rinsed it off, dried it off, pulled it in.
So we are continuing to work on the exterior for this Corolla, and I've finally been able to take a look at what's going on with this paint after we did a really heavy wash and a really heavy clay towel treatment. We do have a lot of marring on the paint, which is to be expected, but we also still have quite a bit of black staining on this paint from the mildew. Let me show you what's going on. So on our hood, we do have a lot of tree sap that has etched. We have some bird poop that has etched into the clear coat. Sometimes when it has gotten to this point, there is nothing that you can do other than a respray. We are going to polish this vehicle. We're probably going to end up doing a heavy compound, but first we need to determine how much paint is on this vehicle to see how aggressive we can be. If there's not much paint on this, then we're gonna have to really take that into consideration with whatever direction we go. But because this has probably never been polished, hopefully we have enough paint that we can try to remove some of the defects that are on the paint here. But the other thing that I have to realistically consider is that this vehicle is stored outside. It is stored under a tree. And so chances are that we might have future issues like this for the customer that, you know, when you want to chase a lot of the defects on the paint, you only have so many times that you can do that before you potentially could create a problem or burn through the paint. So, you know, you have to have realistic expectations and also understand how the vehicle is going to be maintained moving forward. So in this moment, I really want to try to clean the paint as much as I can, remove the body contaminants, do what we can to maybe make some of the etching marks less noticeable. So the hood, we are able to kind of figure out what's going on there. For our trunk, I actually went over this back area with a magic eraser, as well as a rinseless wash and a little bit of APC, just to see how much more of this black mildew that I could scrub off. The paint does sound a lot smoother and not as gritty. We also went over it with an acid-based water spot remover just to see chemically if maybe we could strip some of this off. We will definitely be using more aggressive pad on this section, be it wool or microfiber, to try to remove as much of this as we can. We might have to do a little bit of wet sanding, but again, we're gonna have to determine how thick our paint is and really also what the customer's budget is, because once you start wet sanding, it is a different game when it comes to polishing. Just don't think that, you know, I'm gonna come in here and, you know, 30 minutes later have everything done. You have to kind of have an idea of what you're doing when you are putting any sort of sandpaper onto your paint, because you need to be able to remove those sanding marks and finish down well. And also keep in mind, don't burn through the clear. So no pressure. But the biggest issue is this roof. It really didn't make much of a dent on the mildew that has etched into this clear. It still sounds very gritty. I did go over this section right here with a magic eraser just to kind of see, test spot, could we remove any more of the black?
Before we polish though, we need to remove some tree sap that was on our roof. We're using Koshemi Ulex. This is one of my favorite to remove tree sap. This stuff was just caked on there and within seconds.
And our tree sap has been removed. You can see where it did etch a little bit right there. So again, we will need to polish, but Magic Eraser is doing a decent job. I think we're going to just do another round of clay bar treatment to see what we can pull up, and then we're going to just continue to work on the staining that's all over this vehicle. It is in our door jambs, like on this tighter area right here, so we'll take our Magic Eraser, go over these areas here.
We've already done 2 clay towel treatments and our paint is still gritty to the ear and to the touch. So we're gonna do a clay bar treatment and see if we can remove any more body contaminants. Whenever doing a clay bar treatment, you wanna go until your paint is smooth to the touch and you don't hear kind of that gritty sound.
See, we're not pulling up a whole lot of kind of grit on this after doing that Magic Eraser. It's still not as silent as I would like when I'm taking my towel over the paint. Some spots it definitely is smoother, but these areas here, it's just coarse. It's pretty coarse.
The more I'm cleaning this paint, the more I'm realizing we just need to abandon least aggressive methods possible, and we're gonna have to just jump straight into wet sanding. That's gonna really be the only way for us to remove the dirt that has just become encrustified on this paint.
Super aggressive with compounding, because compounding isn't making much of a dent. And we're not gonna go like crazy. This is the foam back 3000 sanding discs from Rupes. And this is almost, it looks like almost like a denim on here. It doesn't even look like sandpaper. Most polishes can actually remove 3000 grit sanding marks. Most compounds can remove up to 1500 grit. I'm not going that aggressive. I'm not going to go beyond this 3000 because I'm just trying to kind of accelerate our compounding stage.
In some instances like this, wet sanding is actually less aggressive than compounding and polishing.
And for those of you curious, what damage does 3000 grit sanding paper do to your paint? We don't have any deep scratches, just a lot of little micro scratches. It almost looks like you went through the car wash 1,000 times. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with our compound, and then we'll follow up with a polish and see where we land.
For our first test spot, we're going to try out Americana Global, their new Elite Series medium cut compound and their fine cut polish. I'm going to do another video on these two products in the future, but just for a quick review, they had a really nice long work time. They finished down beautifully, easy wipe off, no dust. Really great products to work with. I'm excited to test them out.
So we removed our sanding marks. I still see some scratches in the paint that we sanded this way, and the scratches are this way. So I think what we might be able to do is another round of wet sanding. We actually have 4.4, 4.6, 4.4 measurements on our paint. This didn't remove a lot of clear coat because obviously we were letting the wet sanding kind of do the heavy cutting or correction. I did 2 passes with our compound, 2 passes with our polish. I wasn't having to go super slow or super aggressive overheating the paint. So again, sometimes wet sanding can be gentler on paint than a heavy compound, but we still have some pretty severe etching. And again, I'm not expecting to remove, I can't put paint back onto a vehicle with wet sanding. Obviously, you're just removing more clear coat, but it made a huge difference in gloss in certain areas. This back area here, I can almost see like where he had snow and dirt and he kind of brushed it off this way, because literally there's like scratch marks in the mildew that I think he just had all of that dirt kind of just ingrained into the paint. So I think we're going to go a little bit more with our wet sanding here. I wanted to see just how much we removed doing this process. This is not something that I typically do, but it's giving me confidence that this direction is going in the right direction.
I know sometimes detailers can see vehicles like this and think, oh, this would make the most epic transformation video ever. I am going to go viral. And they want to have vehicles that are in this condition thinking that it's going to get the views. I'm not doing a vehicle like this to get the views. I wanted to help save this vehicle for this customer. This was his baby. This was his means of transportation. And so doing vehicles like this, while gratifying, it requires a lot of time, a lot of products, a lot of skill, and a lot of patience. You have to make sure you're charging accordingly, and you also have to have realistic expectations. You may not be able to save every single vehicle. Sometimes the only solution is, unfortunately, a respray, but if that's not in the agenda, if that's not in the budget, I want to share with you guys realistically what you can do.
This is the sign that we wet sanded, compound, and polished. This is the sign that we still need to do. It's not a huge difference, but you can see a difference almost like right here, just in gloss appearance. It doesn't look almost as thick on the paint. So this is what our paint looks like after doing our wet sanding, compounding, and polishing. Here are the sections where we had more severe damage done. And unfortunately, no amount of wet sanding or compounding or polishing is going to remove that, but When you look at it up close on this side versus this side here that we haven't done, it is a big difference.
For those of you that maybe you don't have a lot of experience with wet sanding and want to try it out for the first time, either for scratch repair or for heavier defect removal like this, I highly recommend picking up the unit that I'm using here, manually being able to go over the clear coat with our foamed back pads. I was very gentle on the paint, actually. I didn't have any concern of gouging it, uneven pressure, burning through the clear coat. It was minimal damage that we were able to very quickly compound and polish away, and you can hear what a difference it made.
This is the trunk.
I knew going into this that I probably wasn't going to be able to remove 100% of the defects on this paint, and it's obvious that even though wet sanding and compounding and polished it greatly improved the clarity and the gloss on this paint, more than anything, we've just been able to remove any sort of bonded contaminants. Now we have smooth paint. Whenever we come in to apply our protection, it can actually bond with whatever clear coat is still there, and it's going to actually help protect the paint and last longer.
Right along, we got half of our hood polished. You can see right around here where I stopped. We have kind of a flat, almost oxidation looking appearance to our paint. Over here, we brought back depth, clarity to our paint, removed about 50 to 75% of the swirls and scratches. Even on our headlights, we have bug splatter that has etched into them. We've got a lot of swirls and scratches. We even have some clear coat failure going on for our plastic headlights. We have the same condition over here, and we've been able to remove the visible signs of kind of failure and bring back just some clarity, and just it's gonna make driving at night a lot better for the customer, as well as improve the aesthetic of the vehicle. So we're making good progress. Now we just gotta finish this up and then work on our side. It is not perfection. Do I wish it was better? Yes. But unfortunately, you can only undo so much damage after you've had so many years of nothing. So, all right, now we're going to pound it out. Here's just a quick 50-50. Because we've spent so much time with wet sanding, compounding, and polishing our kind of horizontal surfaces, now for our vertical surfaces, we're really just focusing on cleaning them up. We're doing a one-step. I don't want to have to do a two-step on this just because we've already increased the budget to the customer's kind of max, and so we're not going to be doing anything really more aggressive than this, but this is about 50 to 75% swirl removal. All right, we are finally all done with polishing. We have a big improvement on this paint just in gloss and shine alone. We still have to do a lot of work on the interior tomorrow, but from a distance, this vehicle looks really like a different vehicle. We definitely have some issues once you get up close, but I think the customer is going to be really happy. He actually told me his biggest concern was that he's not going to recognize his vehicle when he comes to pick it up. So I told him jokingly that we'll have a sign with his name on it just to let him know this is his car. But paint is all done. We ended up using 3D1 and our Rupes polisher. It did a fantastic job polishing the paint. We used a blue Lake Country foam pad. I didn't want something super aggressive like a microfiber or wool or even a Eurofiber because it was leaving behind a little bit of micro marring. This paint was able to tolerate a little bit more of an aggressive approach, finished down really nicely. You can actually see we have really nice clarity on our paint. We don't have any sort of haze or anything like that, and we've been able to remove any oxidation and any sort of contaminants. So we're ready for our protection phase. Tomorrow what we're going to do is start on the interior. It's going to be a long day just to get everything done, and then once the interior is done, then we will put our protection on. Very impressed with this polisher. We'll be doing a separate video review on it, just kind of comparing it to some of the other polishers that I have and giving some of the pros and cons. But for my first time using it, Really enjoyed using it. I'm very happy that I purchased it. I could tell a big difference just in vibrations, in smoothness. I think honestly in weight. My arms are not as fatigued and I don't have any sort of tingling in them afterwards. So that's a definite pro for that polisher. So we're just buttoning up some things. We're polishing our wheels with Quick Glow just to remove some of the etched in brake dust. They are cleaning up nicely. So tomorrow, inside, apply our protection, tires and wheels. We'll button up all of our just little things. We'll put our engine bay dressing. Got a lot to do, but we got a lot done. It's about 4:20 now. We started on this at around 10:30. So about 5.5, 6 hours of polishing. I'm tired, but it definitely turned out. We are finally on the home stretch. We need to apply our ceramic spray coating. Now the reason I am going this route versus a sealant, I don't want a coating on here, a dedicated coating, because we're gonna have to polish it off to remove it. A ceramic spray coating, normally you can remove them chemically, that you don't need to polish. It's going to give us more durability than just a standard wax or sealant. It's gonna make maintenance easier for the customer because we've had conversations where he has vowed that he is going to be better at taking it through the automatic car wash so that his vehicle never gets to this point again. But we really want to try to just kind of bring back a lot of the gloss and shine and just make this vehicle look as good as it can. So we're going to be using BC2. This is from Apex Surface Protection, and this is from his blue collar line. He has his BC1. He has his BC2, which is the ceramic spray coating. BC1 is his 2 to 3 year ceramic coating. And then he has his BC3, and that is his 3 to 4 month topper, or you can use it as a standalone, but this is going to really amplify the gloss and shine on the vehicle. So we're going to actually apply this, and then after 4 hours, you can apply your BC3. What I like about this product here is that especially if you are a mobile detailer or just a detailer in general and you need to apply a product with a short cure time, this has a 4-hour minimum cure time. And so after 4 hours, you can release it to the customer. And so this is really going to maximize your profitability. You don't have to keep the vehicle overnight and things like that. So that just is a little bit more accommodating to the customer, and they're more likely to be able to go with something like this versus nothing. And so this is a very easy product to apply, a very easy upsell as a detailer. So what we're going to do is we have a damp microfiber here. It's not like dripping wet, but you can see it is damp. And Brian is a big fan of these aerosol triggers, but he always recommends pulling away from the vehicle. Like 2 sprays here. We're gonna work in a 3x3 section. So up and down, side to side. Gonna come in with a dry towel, and I can immediately feel really nice slickness, but it is so simple. Literally just as quickly as that, we've applied this product. So we're gonna come in. Brian, a lot of his products are designed to be user-friendly. He wants it to be that the everyday weekend warrior can grab these products and just very easily and very comfortably be able to master them without having to feel nervous or anxious. And so a lot of his products are designed to just work effortlessly. Feels nice. It's gonna feel even nicer after we apply our BC3, but just as simple as that, we've applied the ceramic spray coating to the exterior. You can see a little bit of a high spot right here. It's got like a rainbow effect, and boom, just that simple. It's very easy to see. So we're just gonna do this panel up close. Honestly, I'm flying through this. I think this is easier and faster than most sealants and waxes that I work with. It's very easy to apply, very easy to wipe off. That's the beauty and the nature of most ceramic coatings. As this is setting up, you can start to see some of that rainbowing. You don't have to necessarily come in immediately, but you don't necessarily have to stress about this process. I've been using the same towel for leveling. I'm not using like a two towel method. It really doesn't require that. Hi. How was your day?
I was like, come on, come on, come on. And then I was like, come on. Because that was the end of it when they showed that it had the thing.
It was hilarious, wasn't it?
And I was like, ooh, I couldn't.
Alright.
I got this.
I've tried several different ceramic spray coatings, and I have to say I think this is one of the easiest ones that I have worked with. A lot of them are going to give you that user-friendly experience, but this was just effortless. Simply spray on, let it rainbow flash, wipe off, done. These are the products that I will keep in my arsenal because they make my life easy, especially as a busy mom. We're finally all done with our exterior and part 1 of this video, but stay tuned. Part 2 is coming up for our interior detail and our end result.